I just barely did this highlight on my page. I don't know if you watched it yet, but
Which one?
yeah,
Which one?
I did. It's like a Bradley thing. Which one? What it do? No, what it is. That's what he said.
That's what he says. Yeah.
No, so it was Northwoods. I did a highlight on Operation Northwoods, and it actually blew my mind how many people not only didn't know what it was about, but didn't even know it happened.
Yeah.
And the thing about, you talked about the right wing or any politicians in general, like standing to gain and profit. Mm-hmm. Dude, the war machine is by far one of the most profitable entities of this entire world. And if people only understood what that does for politicians, especially politicians that are under fire right before the primaries, or that have arguably been involved with crimes against humanity, if people only understood what the war machine does to cover that up and then also let these people profit for years and years and years and years to come, and how many times it's been done, then they might actually have an idea of what's really going on right now overseas. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, everybody that says, oh, it's so far away, I don't need to worry about this. I don't know if most people know this, but you can literally see Russia from a part of Alaska. Yeah. Like, it's that close. Yeah. Russia is not far away. The problem is you're always looking at a map, and it looks like Russia's on the other end of the world. Right. Well, for those of you guys that think the world is flat, it's round. And if you look at the other side, you can actually see that Russia and America are extremely close to each other.
Basically touching.
Like literally a stone's throw away from I don't even know what point it is, but one point of Alaska.
If Russia comes here, they ain't coming through the Europe way.
No.
They're coming.
No. but it's not even coming here. Like, dude, there's all kinds of things. But my point is, if people understood how many times the American people have been, or the world itself has been manipulated to go to war in order to cover up truth, cover up crimes, and then allow these evil, corrupt politicians and frankly oligarchies to freaking profit.
Oligarchies is very fascinating.
That's the truth, man. And that's what's happening right now. You have all these people who have been involved in something that is arguably one of the biggest crimes against humanity in history for the last 2 years that are now profiting off of this war on both sides, by the way. We're funding it on both sides. And then on top of that, all of a sudden, everything from the last 2 years just disappeared. Like, poof, gone. Right, gone. What happened to it? Yeah. All of a sudden, now the mandates for flying are what they're lifted. I think it lifted in like a week.
Oh, good.
Right?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's like, thank you so much for giving us our life back.
Oh, you know what? I heard this lady go like, because I wasn't wearing my mask. We were coming back from Mexico. Yeah. And they go look at me and go, you need to put your mask on. And it's just like one of those, like, it's like one of those moments you're like, fuck you, you know? But then this lady behind me goes, it's better to just comply than to fight it. And I looked at her, I go, maybe for you. Yeah. I'm like, good fuck. That's your mentality? Better to comply?
Well, dude, and that's the thing. That's years and years of programming and manipulation that people can't even see. And it's like, that's one of the biggest reasons I started speaking up in the first place. But I'll give you an example talking about airports and masks, okay? I feel like one of the best ways to tell where society really is in an airport, especially during the like height of the pandemic and with masks and everything. So I would always pay attention. How many people are wearing masks? How many people have those masks all up over their nose? Yeah. How many people are wearing them under their nose or as a chin strap? Right. And how many people aren't wearing them? And dude, probably 1 out of 5 people were wearing them under their chin. And maybe like, I don't even know what percentage, but like I'd be walking through the airport and maybe me and 2 other people aren't wearing it, right? Right. But then the rest of the people are wearing it on their, like over their whole mouth. Let me back up. The majority of them are wearing it under their nose. Yeah. They're wearing it, but they're just, partial. It's under their nose or it's a chin strap, right? Yeah. There's like 1 or 2 people out of 5 that are actually wearing it over their nose, and then there's the people that just don't wear it. Right. What does that tell you? It tells you that the majority of the people literally are just doing it to comply. Yes. They don't think it works. Yeah. They don't believe in the science. They don't actually think it's helping anybody or benefiting anybody. Yeah. They don't actually care about grandma. They're just doing it because they don't want to make any rifts. Yes. They don't want to cause any issues.
They don't want to get in trouble.
They don't want to get in trouble.
They don't just want to get on the no-fly list. Yeah.
And that is the reason why we are where we are. Right. Is because people can't see what's happening. They don't want to see what's happening. And even when they do, they're just like, I'm just going to go along with it. Yeah. And dude, that's why these people can get away with the things they have. And so it's just like looking at what's happening overseas right now. That's why I created that Northwoods highlight is like, bro, just to give a quick summary of Northwoods.
Yeah,
right?
no, because you're talking about this and you're saying like, I wish people, let's make them understand, like, what is Operation Northwoods? So what is the war machine, right?
So Operation Northwoods, this was during the Cold War, okay? This is when Fidel Castro was rising in power, right? Long story short, Fidel Castro was rising in power. Communism was on the rise all over the world. And the United States we had just gotten out of World War II, and the United States is like, this isn't going to happen. Right. Like, we're not going to allow a communist is what regime. Has started the last 2 wars. Yeah, we're not going to let a communist regime to rise to power. JFK was president, and basically, Fidel Castro was getting so strong, but not only that, he was also starting to have really close ties with
Russia,
the Soviet Union at the time, right? The USSR.
Right.
And so America was like, this isn't going to happen. We have to stop this. We basically, what they decided was, we have to make Fidel Castro either lose his influence and power, or we need to kill him.
Yep.
And so he had
what's so important is if Cuba were to be that close tied with USSR, the Soviet Union, that means, like, you want to talk about Alaska and Russia touching, talk about Florida and literally being a boat drive away from Canada and being able to have missiles, and how dangerous it was for Cuba to be in cahoots with Russia.
It opened us up to massive issues when it came to possible invasions, missile attacks, nuclear attacks.
Yeah.
Like
our national defense,
we never could have kept up with it, and we never could have been there in time, and it was just catastrophic, right? So this was right kind of as the Cold War, I believe that was the Cold War was like starting, but anyway.
This is what started the Cold War.
Yeah, this is what started. Basically, they said, hey, we can't allow this to happen, and so they said nothing is off the table.
Yeah.
So they came up with all these different ideas of how they could basically make his power diminish, or how they could literally kill him. And there was everything from, like, they were going to have somebody give him an exploding or a poisonous pen, to having one of his exes sleep with him and poison him while he was sleeping, to an exploding seashell on his favorite beach, to, I'm dead serious, bro, to things like, they even considered using estrogen, giving him an insane amount of estrogen so that he would lose his hair and his beard, because he was like this manly, like, bearded figure. And giving him tits, because they were like, dude, this will make him appear weak in the eye of the public, and he'll lose all of his power and influence.
Sure.
Literally, these things were considered, right? Obviously, none of that happened, and any of it that was attempted failed.
Yeah.
But then the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the commander at the time, I forget his name now, but anyway, he comes to the table and he says, okay, I have a more straightforward approach here. We're going to take him out. Like, we're going to take him out, but we're going to also do it by making it look like we need to go to war. We're going to convince the American public that we need to go to war with Fidel Castro and Cuba. How are we going to do that? He came up with 7 different ideas of false flag attempts on United States. So for those of you that don't know what a false flag is basically a diversion in order to distract everybody from what's really happening, right? A diversion that ends up being a violent diversion of some sort. So the ideas were, and I'll just name a few of them. The ideas were, hey, let's stage a terrorist attack in Miami. Let's have some plastic bombs put where there's going to be Cuban refugees that are coming in to seek asylum in the United States. Because at the time, there were a lot of Cubans that didn't want to be in Cuba.
Well, hey, there's still a lot of Cubans in Florida, right?
So they were trying to come. They were coming by the boatloads, right? So they're like, let's actually set some plastic bombs, like plastic explosives, blow up some of those immigrants, and make it look like Cuba did it. Or we could even sink a ship full of them, and then we'll make it look like Cuba did it. Like, this was a real thing that they put on the table in front of the president of the United States to attempt.
How do we have access to know this stuff?
Bro, just look it up. It's literally all over online. Like, use DuckDuckGo, because Google's going to censor everything, but, like, look it up on YouTube videos. This is a real thing, though. This isn't just like a conspiracy theory. You can find a Wikipedia page on this, because what I'm getting at is they eventually, he rejected it. JFK rejected all of these plans. And he fired the commander of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And so this is all public record now. Operation Northwoods is not a secret. It's real, and it's 100% on file, right? But there were other things, like they planned on pretending or making it look like a plane full of U.S. college students that were going to South America on, like, this tourist trip or whatever, would get shot out of the sky by Cuba. So they were literally planning on staging an entire plane full of college kids being downed by Cuba, right? And they had the whole thing planned out and all the different things. And I mean, dude, it was crazy.
Yeah.
You'd have to look it up. There's a bunch of other things that they planned. Even things like hijacking American planes and making it look like it was a Cuban terrorist, or attacking Guantanamo Bay. Okay. Tons of stuff. But anyway, point is, they came up with all these plans to basically enrage America so much and get them so riled up that they would not only support a war with Cuba, but that they would beg for it. Okay? And anyway, JFK said no, he refused to do it, and that led one thing to another. But
so basically what we're talking about here is a propaganda marketing campaign.
Oh, 100%.
We're talking about marketing campaigns basically on how to create anger and fear to rally the people behind a war.
But not just marketing campaigns, bro. It was physical plans to create false flag events against Americans. And here's another one. They were going to blow up a boat full of Navy soldiers, Navy sailors. And they called it the Remember the Maine copycat. So Remember the Maine, the USS Maine was blown up randomly overnight full of a bunch of Navy soldiers Navy sailors during the Spanish War, right? And then that's what literally sent us into war with Spain, because they made it look like, to this day, they say it was Spain or whatever, right? Anyway, they were literally going to attack Americans or American soldiers to force the American public to demand war. And so here's the thing. Why is that all important? Like, that's a lot of information, right? Why is that important? First of all, go watch my highlight because you'll understand it better.
Yeah. There's
no way we can cover it on this. But the other thing is, it just goes to show you what our government is willing and capable of doing in order to justify going to war with another country.
Well, so that's the real question here. Is the argument that you're going to get for this, or I would get for this, anyone would give to that, is our government's not that evil. There's no way we would kill our own people. That's what I was going to ask you.
9/11.